everyone for the love and the support. It's honestly, I couldn't have done this without you. Welcome back to Fit Focus Media, show where we put the focus on fitness. Now, today we are joined by Kate Archibald. Now, who is Kate Archibald, you might ask? Well, she's a person just like you and me. But Kate, I'll let you give a little bit of an introduction for the people at home. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I just did my first bodybuilding season. I did a total of 5 shows, which was quite a lot. I did ICN and Ifbb, both in the figure category. I hadn't initially planned on being a figure competitor, but that's just how things sort of transpired as prep went on and on. The shape of my body obviously was changing, and we made the call to go to figure, which was really exciting.
So if you don't mind me asking, what was actually the initial thing that you were going for if it wasn't figure?
Yeah, sure. So initially I was just going to be I was going to do the sports model category. And then also I think we decided I was going to do fitness as well, which was cool. And then I was obviously going along to the workshops, like the ICN workshops every weekend. And then Jason actually said to me, look, I think you can't do this. You need to move it up to figure. So it wasn't that long out. I think it was about maybe like 6 weeks out, 6 or 7 weeks out, I think, that we made the call to change. So it was a bit of a last minute, a little bit of a last minute decision.
Yeah, and how do you think you actually went, doing that division swap? Was it the right call? Do you still wish you had been able to do both of them? Or?
Oh, no, 100% the right call. My whole mindset sort of just shifted after that, I think. I don't know. I love figure. I feel like I found my home in figure.
Hey, I mean, so we can't really say that you made the wrong choice, because you went in and absolutely cleaned out house at pretty much every single show. If you don't mind me asking though, what was, I guess, the differences for yourself as a competitor between ICN and Ifbb? It's one of those things where I've been talking to a lot of the ICN competitors lately, haven't got to the Ifbb guys yet, but what are sort of those differences in the caliber of physique, the whole, I guess, atmosphere around the show? What are those differences like?
Yeah, I did find it quite different. I think there is... ICN is very friendly, and I think everyone's very, very supportive. And not to say that IFBB isn't, but I think people do take it very seriously, which is fair enough. Obviously, you put a lot in time and effort and money into a prep. Obviously, IFBB is an untested federation, so you're obviously up against people who potentially could be taking some performance enhancing drugs. I'm obviously a natural athlete, so I knew that going into it, and I knew that that's what I'd be up against.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things though. It's still the ability to actually put yourself up against the best of the best, and to know that you are competing against some people who might be, they might be natural, they might not be, but at the end of the day, they are 100% dedicated to it. And you even know more so that if they are, say, in that untested realm, they're probably even more dedicated to the actual process itself, more dedicated to the nutrition, to the training, to all of it. And to put yourself in a position where you're actually competing with that caliber of physique is hard, but it's a real testament to yourself to be able to go and do that, and to sort of come out the other side. If you don't mind me asking, how did those shows go for you, those IFBB ones?
Yeah, so honestly, I went in with no expectations. It was just going to be for the experience and, get some more stage experience and just have fun. Rocked up to the Queensland show, was on stage, and they're calling out the novice category, and I ended up winning novice, which was insane. I couldn't believe it. And then opens come around, and I came second in opens, so that was
legit. So I actually, like I said, I didn't know that you actually had competed in IFBB. So this is completely new to me. You came second. You took out a division and came second
in the Queensland show. Yeah, in the state show. It's the most shocked I think I've ever been in my life. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's actually incredible. Congrats.
Yeah, and then I had absolutely no intention of going down to Sydney to compete in Melbourne to compete in the national show, but I just decided to give it a crack, given that the state show went quite well for me. So yeah I did that as well.
Awesome.
And the following week, it was very last minute and booked in a day or two.
How about the actual the feelings coming off of show after getting those placings? What actually goes through your mind when can anything go through your mind being that depleted on stage, or is it excitement? Is it just amazement? Is it just blankness? What are you actually feeling when you're in a position like that?
Oh, I just couldn't believe it, because I'm standing backstage and I honestly felt like I'm looking at all these incredible women and their muscles, and it was just like I felt like a little chihuahua against like these just incredible bodies. And I thought, I've got no chance. And because you can't really see yourself as well. Like, I find it very hard to, like, you know, compare when you're backstage. You just shouldn't do it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think that rings true for pretty much all the time. It's like the worst thing we can do is when we're looking at, say, social media and we're just comparing ourselves to the other physiques that are out there. And it's just, it's always it's not a good idea. So I guess, yeah, just keep in your own... Keep in your own mind and just sort of.
But the great thing was, I think, about the state trials, I had there was just absolutely no expectation on me, because it was my first ever season doing IFBB figure as a natural athlete. I've only been weight training for like a year and a half. So there was just no, like, we were literally just like, we're just going to have fun, you know? And so to come away with such like a good result, I was just, I don't even think, it still hasn't hit me, I don't think. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's actually pretty insane. If you don't mind me asking then, this is something I normally try and get you to say later on, but what are the goals, like, moving forward? Like, what does the future hold after that? Like, that is an insane performance.
I know, it is insane. But, like, I'm not going to lie, like, I'd love to go back to IFBB and, like, give it another crack just to see, because I've learnt so much about training and nutrition in the last, like, this prep. And I feel like I can use everything I've learned and just like go hell for leather training and just build.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I know so much more now about it all, and I'd love to give IFBB another crack for sure. It's obviously, yeah, you want to go where the competition is, right? And so...
Exactly. It's like, you know, if you are a competitor and if you are doing well at it, you always want to be going against the best of the best, and then it's the even better and the even better. And to come out of going into your first prep to be able to control like your physique to get down to that point, to then go into a show, get your posing on point, and to absolutely clean out house. Like, I'm not going to lie, when I saw you for the first time up on stage at the... at the Brisbane Classic, I think was the first time that I'd seen you there. I thought you'd been competing a long time. Like, the way that you had your posing on point, the way that you brought your conditioning in, it looked like you were a seasoned professional athlete. Like, it looked like you'd done this a multitude of times. So it really is actually quite surprising to hear that, but really inspiring to see that someone can actually go so well in their first run, and it really opens up the door for, you know, the future with what you could actually do in the sport, which is pretty cool, not gonna lie.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it was obviously a big team effort. Like, you know, my coach Tiara, like, we, as I said, she helped me choreograph like 5 different routines, because I went from, initially I was going to try IFBB bikini, but then just my shape, I don't want to have to hide like my biceps and things. Like, they look amazing on stage. I like the bikini girls; they're beautiful, absolutely stunning. But I like that really like muscular looking physique. That's just what I aspire to. It's one of those
things, like, you have the physique to back it up. You might as well go after it and actually push yourself to do it, rather than trying to hide it just to try and fit into a category that might not really be tailored for what you're after.
Yeah, exactly. And I think doing figure this season as well, like, it gives me that experience, and I know that I can grow into figure as well. Like, I'm never going to be too big for figure as a natural athlete. So yeah, that's really exciting. But yeah, obviously Tiara was incredible. Like, couldn't have done it without her for sure.
Awesome. Now, a little quick game that I do actually want to play while I've got you here, just to see what your thoughts on training, on nutrition, on competing, all this sort of jazz. Next to you do have a little whiteboard. So what we're going to be doing here, I'm going to reach over and grab mine. Would you rather have there goes the markers. Would you rather have a blue or a red marker? They're the two choices you get.
I will go red.
Red? All right, red has popped over that side. Give me one sec. The blue is actually just down there.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go blue.
Oh, you can still do a switch.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Pretty much, Bailey, you can be a little timer man over in the corner. Just make sure we don't take too long. It really doesn't matter if it's too specific. All we're going to be doing, though, is just running through a few things and write down your response. We'll give a quick show and a quick comparison. So, starting off, what is your favorite exercise? Ooh, all time. Bailey, I don't care how long it is. Just make sure we don't ramble on. Go. Wow, you actually beat me so quick now. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. squats.
Yeah.
Girls. I was like, I panicked. Your response was down so quick, and I was like, I'm thinking this isn't good. Girls. I mean, you can't go past girls, surely.
Really?
Squats are actually up there. I'm getting back into them now. Like when I first got into fitness, started on more of like the sort of powerlifting side of things. Squat, bench, deadlift, multiple times a week. That was everything that I did. And then just because I had a couple of injuries come out of it, I took a bit of a breakout and getting back into it now. But
yeah,
I do miss.
What
squatting.
injury did you do?
So I did my hamstring while I was doing deadlifts one
Okay.
time. I didn't used to sumo at all. Did sumos for something a little bit different, tweaked my hamstring, and just it messed me up for a good while. And then I was also doing like a hammer strength chest press one time. Did an injury to my shoulder, which caused a lot of problems with bench.
Right.
So it did take it didn't feel as comfortable coming like back out of that.
Yeah.
In saying that though, the last sort of few weeks getting back into training properly and like programming properly, things are feeling a lot better now because I think there's just been enough time to actually let it heal properly and get back to a state where I can get that fresh start going. So I'm planning on getting back into it, which would be good.
Yeah, hammies seem to be one of those things that they just once you do it once, it's like the AFL players, you know.
See, that was the thing growing up in Victoria. I played like Australian rules football,
Yeah.
and I did injuries to like my hamstrings as well while I was doing that. So I think it was like once I did it the first time, then it was really easy to cause problems again in the future, unfortunately. But
I actually lived in Melbourne as well for a couple of
Hey.
years, when I was a little girl, and who do you support?
well, my family was always Collingwood, so.
Go the Pies!
Hey,
Yes,
there we
this is
go,
going very
there we
well.
go. So I was gonna say, normally when I say that response, everyone just looks at me and
Yeah,
thinks
you
that
have
I'm
a
the
bit of
worst
like an
person.
apprehensive look on your face. You're like, oh, the Pies.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, you just get judged so
Yeah.
harshly for it. You're either for them or
Oh.
completely against them. Eh?
Yeah, the feels. Yeah,
All
definitely.
right. In that case, then,
Okay.
worst football team. And I know that we're in Queensland now, so no one watching this from this state will have any idea what we're talking about. But 3, 2, 1. See, I can't do that one because like the town that I'm from originally is like a small little country town, and there's multiple people from that town that have actually gone on to like play for the Lions and like be part of their draft season. So they actually like support where I'm from. So it feels wrong to label it.
Look, I probably should have said Essendon, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Davis.
I just wanted to cause some drama, you know.
Yeah, that's
like-
fair. That's fair. You know, and here you were before saying, "Oh, you can cut things out if we cause too much drama," and then you go straight for the throat with that one.
Yeah, people coming after me. I think.
Is there any other reason behind your decision there, or you just want to just tweak it a little bit?
Yeah, nah. Look, to be honest, because I played AFL for a couple of years. I stopped when I did an ACL, but I absolutely loved AFL, and I know a few girls in the Lions AFLW, and yeah. So I don't mind the girls, but I don't care about the men, whatever.
Harsh. Okay, you say that. Tracking back to that last question that we had, actually, I'm curious. What is your squat like? Like, what is like as far as like weight wise? Is that something you've been training for? Like, what do you like with powerlifting? Because you predominantly do powerlifting training, or is it just something you do? Because I don't know. I always hear about you and Valhalla.
Well, yeah. So basically, I only started powerlifting training of any description back in April, May of last year. And then I kind of worked up to a just a novice comp. Initially I'd started just to learn how to squat, bench and dead with proper form with no intention of competing. And then Lily, who's my coach, was like, no, you should definitely do a competition. And then so I got Bailey into it as well because he was just doing his own thing at the gym. And then we did a novice comp in October. And I squatted 165, benched 85 and deadlifted 160. First ever comp. So I was pretty stoked with that.
All right. So you know what I said at the start where I said that Kate Archibald is a person just like you and me? I lied, man. I lied. I don't think Kate's human, man. That ain't right. Damn, that's
so
impressive.
I was pretty happy with that actually. They use have you heard of the Gloss Brenner? So basically it's like a formula that they input your gender, your weight and everything. And it was
like the max like estimations and stuff.
And then you get like a coefficient. I think it's like a
Right.
Glossbrenner coefficient, and I think I actually beat all the men as well.
Yeah.
Like when they inputted everything, so I was pretty stoked about that. But yeah. So then straight after that comp, I started prep. So basically, the powerlifting training stopped, and back to like sort of more, you know, bodybuilding, hypertrophy training. And then now that prep's finished, we're back to powerlifting training. But yeah, definitely, given my like aspirations to obviously compete again in like 2024, it's definitely more structured. Like I am doing powerlifting and I want to compete in powerlifting, but there is a significant portion of hypertrophy training as well.
Yeah.
And like we're just basically at the very end of like ironing out between my powerlifting coach, Tiara, my bodybuilding coach, just like a program for me to
one that sort of
have
like
my
works
system.
on both strengths at the same time.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
I guess it is one of those things where you've seen just how successful you can be in the powerlifting and the bodybuilding scene now. And I guess really at that point it just comes down to which one you think has the greatest potential down the line in the future and which one you enjoy the most.
I know ideally like you would choose one and you would just commit to doing one time, but I honestly, life's short. I love both.
Exactly.
I really do, and I really want to try and make it work. So pretty determined to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would be so boring if if you had to limit yourself just to the one thing. I don't understand that mentality with things. It's like if you want to do multiple things, like find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Like,
And I mean, it's not like, there's so many examples of powerlifters who have come across in like one bodybuilding
it's
shows.
like there are
and
two sports that very well carry over to
I
each
think
other. It's
they
like you
do,
can build
yeah.
such a great foundation with the powerlifting movements.
Yeah.
And the strength gains that you have in that just carry over to the amount of weight you can actually move in your hypertrophy training. So it's like, why would you, neglect that, especially if you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. And like the other thing is I just don't think I could wait like two and a half years to compete in something again. Like I'm a very competitive person, like always have been.
Kate's had the
My
bug in
older
her. She just wants to
brother
win
and me were
everything.
always competing against each other growing up, and like my cousins, like all boys. So like, I grew up with like a lot of very competitive boys around me, and so I think it's just like, yeah, I'm always wanting to compete, and so powerlifting gives me that more short term. I'm doing a competition in November.
Nice.
So having a couple of months to have an off season, and then 12 weeks out from that you start like a powerlifting prep.
Yeah, I suppose it's like it's probably got a bit of a faster turnaround because you don't have to, I guess, diet down to a conditioning point. You just have to train hard and get the general things on point, rather than sticking to a diet for 6, 12, 18 weeks and
pretty much the volume comes down and the load goes up.
Yeah.
So like
Awesome. So jumping back into this one, what's like the go-to like cheat food? Like just like the perfect cheat meal.
I'm not fussy, like literally anything.
I thought you were going to be like, I don't eat cheat meals at all. I'm just super clean 24/7.
Like I just love
grind.
food. I like
All right. You can always go and say that the best thing that you had like post comp, because that must have been insane.
I'm gonna keep it broad.
And just by the way, like I always said to you, spelling does not matter in this podcast. So just ignore that. Asian food. Come on, you can be a little bit more specific on that one.
Like, I don't know. I love because I lived in China for 7 months.
That's pretty cool.
And I've been to Japan a couple. I just love just Asian cuisine.
Yeah.
Like the flavors.
I'm
It's
not
just
gonna
my
lie.
jam.
Yeah, if we were picking like a whole category,
Yeah.
Asian food is definitely there, and because you get so many different flavors and like varieties inside of that bracket, and they're always just fantastic.
Yeah.
For me though, like cheap food wise, pizza, Hawaiian. I like pineapple on pizza, so I know that probably triggers a lot of people. It's very hit or miss whether or not you do like it.
I think pineapple on pizza is a definite go.
Hey,
Absolutely.
nice.
Anything on pizza, it's delicious. Yeah.
Hey, very nice.
Load 'em up. I because I used to work in an Italian restaurant, and I know that often they just put like a few toppings on, and then it's like, which is okay, but I don't know.
No, see,
I'm more of a loaded pizza type of person.
Yeah, this is one of those things. So when I came back from the UK, no, this was before I even went to the UK, I was working in a pizza store for a little bit, just on the side, delivering pizzas. It was kind of fun. And again, being from like a smaller like country town, that's the sort of place where you order a pizza and they just like pack it with everything. So you get a pizza here and you're like, what the hell is this? Over there, it's just like, oh yeah, you want 10 different things on your pizza and you want it stacked up this high. So yeah, you can see some really cool creations that come together. And it makes you really depressed when you actually have like a proper Italian pizza.
Yeah, the further it is from the real deal, the more toppings. Like
Exactly. Like I was so upset when I actually went to Italy, and it was the worst pizza I've ever had in my life because it was just like bread with a little bit of sauce and like oil, pretty much.
Yeah.
I was just like,
they're all about like their fresh, you know, like the basil and the cucini and the like. Yeah,
I mean,
but I'm just like loaded up.
Yeah, my response to that is pineapple's a fruit. That's fresh. So that's about where my freshness ends, unfortunately. And so now I'm kind of curious because a lot of the people that I've been talking to recently, especially coming out of the ICN shows, they predominantly work inside of the fitness industry as well. And it seems, I guess, a little bit just out of the wild, the fact that you've come in out of nowhere, cleaned out a house, done super well, but you're not actually that involved in the actual industry, are you? Like, what do you predominantly do?
No, not at all. I actually work in law. I work as an associate to a judge in criminal law, so certainly not in the fitness industry. Yeah, I've always had a massive like passion though for sport. Like I've always played either soccer or AFL or like sport's always been a big part of my life. But I think just like the school I went to, it was very much like academics was very pushed, which is great. Like obviously education's important. But yeah, it was almost like going down the fitness, like anything to do with that just wasn't really like, no.
Just wasn't even an option to consider really. It was
not really, to be honest. And the tricky thing is I've always sort of been someone that likes to do like lots of different things. Like like subjects in high school, I was doing, chemistry, like biology, but then also like modern history, PE, English, like, so I sort of had, all over the place, which made it really hard, but like English was probably my strongest subject, so that's why I chose to do law.
Hence why I say don't look at my spelling, because it was probably worse.
To be honest,
I'm just gonna hide this whiteboard real quick, because that's embarrassing.
Oh no, it's really fine. Like there's a bit of a running joke that like lawyers and doctors do not have good like handwriting or spelling. So yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like I see a lot of legal professionals' handwriting, and it is very funny. Questionable. So don't feel bad.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's so good. I mean, how about like, sorry, how do you go with juggling that kind of? Because to me that seems like a very stressful environment to be working in. It seems like it's very full on, like just up there. Combining that with being on a prep, being in a deficit for that long. Like, how long was your prep as well?
Yeah, so finished the powerlifting comp and then went straight into prep. I was actually on circuit with my judge in Southport, so we circuit around Queensland for 2 weeks at a time. So all up, we were gone for like 3 months of the year last year. Started prep on circuit in late October, I think it would have been. Yeah. So that was like 22, 23 weeks out from comp.
Yeah, and like balancing that sort of work schedule with like the stresses of prep with just life in general, like.
So usually people only do an associateship with a judge for 1 year, but because my judge is actually at the very end of her judicial career, I guess, she retires in a few weeks. I was able to stay on for 18 months, so I'd already done the job for 10 months, so I'd learnt a lot, and then when I started prep, I had learnt the ropes and I knew what I was doing, so that definitely made it a bit easier. And in terms of legal jobs, being an associate is very nice. Like it's a very sort of 8 to 5 kind of job.
Right, so at least you can sort of build a bit of a routine around it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know a lot of lawyers work, 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. at night. Like exactly. It's crazy. But yeah.
Because I think that's like one of the biggest issues that a lot of people fall into when it comes to just life in general, let alone competing, is that the schedule is the most like important thing, is just knowing roughly when you're like, not even roughly, but as closely as possible, like when you're going to be doing certain things, so that way you can make sure that you get, the other essentials done as efficiently as possible. What was that sort of, I guess, schedule like for yourself when it comes to like training, diet, all that sort of jazz? Like, did you have to, because I know some people, they get to a point where, they must do their cardio at this time, they must train at this time, they must eat at this time to make sure that things fall in line. Was that similar for yourself, or were you able to be a little bit more flexible with it?
Yeah, it was pretty structured. So I would often, I'd get my steps in literally running around court all day usually. Sometimes have to do like a little bit at night as well. I'm not a morning person, so I don't gym in the morning. I gym.
See, I'm the complete opposite at the moment. Like normally getting up at between sort of the 2:30 and 3 a.m. mark.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, and then in bed by like 7-ish.
Oh.
That's the schedule at the moment. 7 8.
Oh wow. Yeah. No.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah. So I
It's not for
usually.
everyone.
Yeah, I usually gym at night and then go to bed around 11:30. Wake up at 6, sort of deal.
See, that's still pretty good. That's
Yeah.
still pretty good.
Yeah,
You're
it
doing a
worked for
better job
me.
than
It definitely worked for me, but having the job that I had, it just like there was like very rare that I'd have to stay back. So I knew that I'd be able to go to the gym at night, you know. So like if you have a job where, or you know, is this partner of this law firm going to require me to stay till 8 p.m. 3 nights this week? Like you can't sort of be in that position and do prep. So I was very lucky in that sense. That,
Yeah, you do need to have the flexibility to actually control your environment a little bit to make sure that you can get things done.
Yeah.
You know, when they need to get done at some points.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Now, one thing I am actually really curious about is, although we were at the shows and we, you know, I got to see him a little bit like pre-show because I was helping with the setup and I got to film a little bit pre-show. But some of those goodies that you might have brought over there, were we able to take a bit of a look and get a bit of a tour as to what you actually managed to take away from the shows?
Yeah.
Yeah. So say what was, yeah, I don't even know like what you've got here because you competed in federations that I didn't even know you competed in. So now I'm curious.
Yeah. What is?
Just a little side note, so we're getting up some trophies. Oh.
So this was the Brisbane overall figure.
I can tell another way for you. What does it say?
Oh yeah.
Pass that one up and then I'll just...
So that was very exciting.
Damn.
Yeah. What's this one?
So I'm just laughing. You won't be able to tell this even if you're on the actual video, but Bailey's just standing off to the side, just looking very menacing right now.
Yeah, this was the Nationals. I saw.
Hey,
so,
do you mind if I have a
sure.
look? That's actually, damn. That's pretty cool.
Oh gosh.
Look, Mum. Look what I got. Totally earned that one. Yeah, 100%. She's mine.
Brisbane Classic. I don't know what this one was for.
Maybe was that the gold,
this
gold
was
class?
for gold class.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, because
That's
that was the like when you were up on like for the gold class show, that was where I was like, surely Kate has competed multiple times because you went up and you absolutely crushed it. And I'm not gonna lie, when you took second, I was a little bit like, real, like I don't know. I think there was. You
Oh no, I think Erin looked amazing.
Oh, she looks fantastic.
Yeah,
but
I think she
it
definitely
was-
deserved the win.
It was still good. It was close, man.
Because when I came, the Brisbane Classic was on like the Sunday, and I competed at Nationals for IFBB on the Saturday. So Bailey and I actually flew back from Melbourne and got back at 10 p.m. and I was sitting in the makeup chair at 6 for the Brisbane. So it was very hectic. I think my body was a little bit, I don't know, there's something about flying and like traveling. My body was freaking out a little bit. I definitely...
Yeah, that happens when you're that low. that happens when you're like single digit body fat as a female.
Yeah, and then I was speaking to some people about it and they're like, yeah, that's why usually bodybuilders will like travel a good 2 days before because this sort of thing happens.
Normally you want to be in the actual location so you can let your body do its adjustments back to a baseline and not freak out.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously I'm stoked that I was able to do both shows and I wouldn't have changed anything. But I'm just saying like the Brisbane Classic probably wasn't my most favourite look because I was clearly like holding a lot of fluid and you know it just...
And again, it's amazing to hear someone say that who was in such amazing shape because it's like...
Oh, thank you.
And again, it's like, you know, if that's off, then damn, that's insane. The actual potential is there for like coming in, you know, a couple of years down the line when there's been more time to actually progress the physique itself and build it up and then come in 100% on point for a particular show. You know, whether it's ICN, whether it's IFBB, but to pick like just the one show that you're going all in at, that is a pretty exciting physique just to like think of coming to the stage.
Yeah, it was sort of 4 shows in 3 weeks back to back. So And then I had a 2-week break, and then ICN Nationals. So the 2-week break was nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Gave my body a bit of a...
Sorry, do you mind if I switch this one over?
Yeah, sure.
Have a look at the big one.
The big one?
I always want the big one. Because this is actually kind of cool. Surely you're just like up on stage with a pre-workout and just like drinking, like you just like drinking an energy drink out of it. Damn, they just keep coming.
Oh,
that's
gosh.
awesome.
And then I think this one, this would have been for novice. For the Brisbane, for the Queensland IFBB show.
Man, I feel like I'm in a little candy store right now. This is awesome.
Haven't quite figured out where I'm actually putting all these yet. I know that bodybuilders, they have to sort of acquire like a cabinet for it all. I haven't done that yet.
You need to have a bookshelf that has all of your knowledge and wisdom on it, and then you just like hang your trophies over the side. All right.
Some legal textbooks and then some body.
Exactly.
Be very unique looking.
All right. What's this?
So obviously I have 2 silver from IFBB. So one would have been from the Queensland show Opens, and one would have been from the national show Novice.
But again, that's...
Yeah.
And these are cool, man.
They are really cool, aren't they? Yeah.
100%. I earned these, a lot of hard work and dedication went into the process. I'm so thankful and grateful for all the support. Thank you. Oh, man. Again, like, this is just really cool for me because sort of, you know, like growing up and getting into the gym and, you know, like back in those days where it was like the gym YouTube scene and everyone was just going off their nut of it. You know, it was an insane like phase, and like seeing all like all the fitness influencers sort of come up and the pros come up, and to actually see like something that is IFBB, and especially like these placings, it's really, really cool. So thank you for bringing them in.
No.
That's actually awesome.
Yeah. And then obviously the ICN Sunshine Coast as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Got lots of tiaras as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
You have to put one on.
Oh, 100%. Wait, surely the blue fits with like the brown.
Okay.
Yeah,
there we go.
There we go. How does this even? How does this go on? It's like...
Yeah,
Is that how we do it?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Alright, no, just even this. So I'd like to thank everyone for being part of this amazing journey. It's been honestly the most challenging but the most rewarding thing of my entire life. And I just want to say thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. And thank you for bringing these in, because I get to do that. That was fun.
This is so good. Oh, God.
It's all good. All right, and then we've got one left by the looks of it.
This is the sword from ICN Nationals that has not been taken out of the airport packaging.
For good reason. Like,
yeah.
What was it like? Like, what did Virgin think of you coming through the airport with that one?
Yeah, look, initially Bailey was carrying it, and then he was like, gave it to me. It was like, because it had no wrapping or anything. They were just, I don't know how they expected us to get on flights with these. But yeah, and then we were already like running like late because we managed to get our flight earlier. And then I basically had to beg the lady at the airport to let us take it. And then...
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Is it like, I'm assuming that it's like fully like, you know, blunted down. You're not going to actually, like, you couldn't like slip and accidentally hurt someone.
Well, that was
like...
the argument I tried to make. She didn't really buy it.
I was gonna say it's actually like kind of surprising. Like, it doesn't come with like a sheath or like a cover or anything to like hide it away.
Not
a
at
little bit?
all. And usually you have to like the person that has the dangerous item has to go about wrapping it appropriately. They don't do it for you. So yeah, I begged her, and she managed to find some wrap. And yeah.
I mean, not gonna lie, the first thing that popped into my mind when I like saw you with that was just like 100% just need you to do a photo shoot like with like Wonder Woman like cosplay, because like just Wonder Woman with that sword I think would go absolutely off its nut. Like your physique fits that perfectly.
Oh, God.
switching into an acting career, like the possibilities are endless, you know.
Yeah, well, I actually have like 3 swords now, and I don't know, like, what do you do with? Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, don't you just love living in a city where the sirens go off all the time in the background? So hopefully you enjoy that at home. But I guess that's not a bad place to be when it's like, oh, I have too many swords.
Yeah. Just not gonna lie, Mum was just a bit like, where are you putting all of those? but yeah, we'll have to figure that out, just like the rest of these.
No, I'm keen to see like just the setup that you end up going with. Surely the bookshelf design comes in well.
Yeah.
Again, it plays into that sort of like mysterious superhero vibes, and I think that's already what you're sort of moving towards. So
I like it. I'll take that on board. It will be a definite option.
Yeah, 100%. And you just walk into the like courtroom, just Wonder Woman, full on.
With the
sword.
Yeah, look, there's court security. Might get stopped there.
Don't worry, you got past Virgin, man. You got past
I can get on a plane with this,
finest,
so
you know, like you are set. You're good to go. Now, and I am sort of curious, like as far as being in a diet for yourself, were there any massive tips, tricks that you've come across along the way that might be beneficial for someone who is, say, going into a prep or who is, thinking about competing?
Yeah, I found like just volumizing like everything pretty much. So like my oats in the morning, like I just put like heaps of water and like, pumpkin, all the foods that make it appear like you're eating more.
Yeah, I was always a massive fan of like putting in like shredded zucchini in there, and still even now I always put like egg whites in there just to give it extra volume, extra protein, and just sort of fluff it up a little bit without adding an absolute hell of a lot more calories to it. Yeah.
What else? Just like knowing that you're going to feel low energy and just sort of accepting it. I think, you like everyone warns you before you start a prep, like you're going to feel hungry. So as long as you just like, that that's going to be the case. Definitely like, I would say, being in like the right, like having the right circumstances and like your life set up so that you don't have a job, for instance, as I was saying, that they're going to require you to work 14-hour days constantly, because I just don't think that's feasible in a prep, just with like hunger and training and everything else you have to do.
Because I mean, it is one of those things where like a lot of people that I meet, they are sort of getting into competing, or they have competed, and it does seem like they've got a lot sort of on, and I'm also amazed when they say that they managed to make it through, like while they're studying and they've got like double exams coming up, or they've got a really stressful job. I'm like, I don't know how they do it
either. I was in a very unique position with like the type of law job I have is just like comparatively to other law jobs is quite low stress and quite structured with the 8 to 5 sort of deal. But I don't know how people do it in like final exams.
Because again, like hearing that, it's one of those things. Like finally had to end up having a chat with my coach, and it's like it's not like competing on stage, but it's like all right, let's do like a mini cut, let's do a practice, let's like get down to say like photo shoot, and it's like let's see. I want to push myself to that, see how I go with it, give it a try, and see how it feels. But I've always just, I guess, like there's just been this like little nerve where it's like, is this the right time, or is this going to cause too much stress, or is this? And I guess it's just trying to like, I got to a point where I was like, you know what, let's just go for it, let's just see how it goes. But now hearing that, it's like, do I have things figured out enough right now to go after it in that sense?
I feel like that's though why most people, like a lot of people who do compete, are in the fitness industry, or they work for themselves. They have a bit of flexibility around when they do things. It seems
I
to
guess that is one of the benefits, is the fact that I can really schedule out like the day however I want it. So in that sense, I don't have an excuse. I can decide when I train. I can decide when I eat. I can make those calls and those judgments, which is, I guess, the main thing that you sort of need.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you can be in a low stress environment, that's going to be optimal for a prep, isn't it? So,
true. I don't think it's feasible to ever expect to be in a low stress situation, because it's like it is what it is, and it will come up just at the most random times when you think that things are on top of the world and you think that things are stress free. That's when you're probably going to get one of the biggest tests, and that's where you need to just sort of push through it all.
And I think no one has like a perfect, like from what I've heard from speaking to everyone, speaking to people, it's like no one has a perfect prep where there's just nothing that goes wrong in 23 weeks. Of course, there's going to be a spanner thrown in the works at some point.
So did you have to resort to any of, I guess, like the sort of like the diet hacks or anything like that? Like, whether it was like outside of like the volume foods, like was there any, like, I guess, like, the low calorie jellos or the sugar free this, that, and the others, or the, like just the weird food things to help sort of push you through it? The high caffeine. I mean, geez, some of the people I was talking to, they got to like 1,200, 1,600 milligrams of caffeine just to suppress the appetite and function properly.
Oh, gosh.
It's crazy.
At the back end, like when it was really close to show, we did cut sort of the jellies and the things like with the sugar alcohols out, or majority of them. But yeah, during it, I would have like the light jelly and things like that, and like a Diet Coke, like 1 Diet Coke a day and things like that. Definitely does help, honestly.
Yeah, I suppose it helps like keep a little bit of that like normality to your day-to-day life and give a little bit more variety and stop things from being too bland. And then it's only realistically when it comes down to the actual, like the end game, the time to really sort of kick into gear and get ready for it, that you need to sort of pull those things out and like see how your body is actually adjusting without them. And sort of get down.
And when you're that close anyway, it's just like whatever has to be done at this point. But when you're weeks and weeks out, I think it's got to be tolerable.
Yeah, it's like if you were doing that the whole way through, then you probably wouldn't get the whole way through, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, my calories never got like crazy low or anything like that, which I'm very thankful of that. I think like the lowest they got was maybe like obviously macros, but calorie wise, I think it was about 1650, 1700 was as low as it kind of got, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same as what like Claire Robinson's was when she came on. She said that pretty much the entire way down, the lowest she got was 1700. There was like a couple of days where it was at 1500. But besides that, 17, and that's actually kind of surprising. Like I found. Yeah,
and like I had a very moderate step count, but like step goal every day, but never any like cardio or anything either. So that was cool.
You.
But
not gonna lie, damn you. It's like I'm just like looking at my watch. It's like we're only at 10k. We gotta get up, go do some movement. Let's go for a walk.
Well, my steps was like about 12k a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found that was really fun.
Yeah, from everyone that I've been talking to, 12 is kind of like that, almost like that sweet zone where it's like 10 is good, but if you can get to 12 on a consistent basis, because I guess, by the end of the week, then you're adding an extra 10k just out of nowhere. So it does actually make a really big difference if you can do that little bit of an extra push. And then you carry that out over 8, 12, 16 weeks, 30 weeks. Like, Jesus, that's a massive amount of a massive difference that you can make in just physical output and, physique in the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of curiosity, what is your favourite and least favourite pose?
Ooh. I think my favourite would probably be the side tricep.
Yep.
And my least favourite, just because it's very awkward, but the abs and thigh, just like...
Real?
I don't know, like...
I thought
obviously it's... Like, it's cool to look at people tensing their abs and everything, but it just looks a bit awkward, because...
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little bit odd because the way you have to curl over and crunch over and that sort of stuff. I would have thought that like hitting a side tricep would have been a lot harder than like hitting like a quad, like a thigh and ab. I thought that would have been like relatively, I guess, like simple at least, which would have been good.
I think the side triceps are a lot more simple to...
Real?
Yeah, because...
Maybe it's have like low flexibility.
You really?
I cannot get like I cannot get around properly. Like for say like a side chest with like chest with tricep. You know how it is. Where it's like
yeah.
I find it really hard to get like the mobility around to actually rotate into it properly.
Oh, okay, yeah, interesting. That makes sense. I know a lot of guys have shoulder mobility is a problem.
Maybe I just need to get flexible.
Yeah, I think females are much more flexible. Yeah, I think it's just because you have to sort of like really breathe in, like breathe all the air out with the abs and thigh, and then like be tensing everything, but also not make your face look like you're in a whole lot of pain.
It's like you're literally this close to passing the hell out, and you're trying to smile and look beautiful up on stage, and it's just like
it's asking the like impossible. But there is actually one photo of me from the Sunshine Coast show where I'm pulling the abs and thigh, and I actually really quite like that photo. But yeah, the rest all the others I look like I'm in pain.
Yeah, and when you're up on stage, like mentally, is it like, are you just like are you like, I guess, like running through the poses, listening to it, and you're just like in your mind, just like, and strike, and strike, and strike? Or is there like, I don't know, I feel like being so like low, you could almost just go blank sometimes and be like slightly out of it, or you're just so pumped up that you're actually, you're locked in and you're good to go.
Yeah, I think when you're on stage, like the adrenaline is pumping at that point. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how hungry you are. Like you're listening, and yeah, it's like sort of like time to turn it on.
And then from your own sort of, I guess, perspective, when is it sort of, I guess, like when should someone think about competing or look at competing? You know, like if someone they've been training for a while, they're thinking about doing it. Like when is that trigger point where you, I guess, like that you knew or that you feel is like the right time to try and go after it, or to, you know, push yourself to that point?
Yeah, I think it probably just depends on like their starting point. Like, you know, I feel like everyone responds so differently to like training and like how easily or they can put on muscle mass. And, you know, I think for me, because I had played sport my whole life, so I feel like maybe, you know, as a first time competitor going straight to figure, like that probably assisted me.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't put on muscle mass, you know, easily, they can still do, you know, bikini, and they can start from, you know, the most sort of requiring the least amount of muscle mass and work their way up if they want to.
Up the sort of
but yeah, I feel like there is always a category for everyone.
Yeah.
You know.
So I guess in that sense, it really just comes down to like when you feel like you're ready, that is when you are ready.
Yeah, I mean, a prep is a big commitment, so
Yeah.
you want to be able to have like consistent training. You know how to track food. You know, obviously have a coach that you get along well with and that you trust. So I feel like once you have the fundamentals in place,
Yeah.
why not?
Awesome.
Definitely like one of the best things I've ever done. I'm so glad I competed. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, while I still got you here, I'm just gonna look for where the mobile device is, because we did actually have a few questions that came through over on Instagram. So I want to make sure that we cover those and get them out of the way. Well, thank you, good camera sir. Alrighty, so was it stressful learning posing for many categories as your body changed over prep?
Honestly, yes, it was. Yeah, particularly because it was so, like, it was weeks, you know, I had to learn this. So it was definitely, I had to sort of, short period of time and hit it hard. Initially I started as doing Ifbb bikini, then moved to wellness, then moved to figure. So those are 3 different routines there. And then obviously I started sports model and fitness and then went to figure. So I know how to pose for a lot of different divisions. Yeah.
That's
the answer
insane.
is yes, it was stressful.
That's insane. And like, did you get like a posing coach for particular things, or was this just like your current coach that you had that sort of helped you through it, or how did you go about actually learning posing in general, let alone that many divisions?
Yeah, so Tiara predominantly obviously helped me. And then I went to the ICN workshops, which were helpful. And then I went to an IFBB posing workshop and actually met a couple of ladies there, who I also, in the last few weeks, went and saw them a few times just to, you know, get a bit of extra assistance with, you know, like the figure posing, and then IFBB figure posing as well. So I had a few people helping me because it was so last minute, that I just had to get like all hands on deck and just learn them as quick as possible.
And what sort of, I guess, like how much commitment did it actually take to learn your posing? Because again, like from an outside perspective, I would have had no idea that, you know, you'd never competed before, and even less that you hadn't spent a really rushed time trying to learn how to pose. Like, how much time did you actually put into that? Because it came out on stage very polished and looking very, very clean. So.
Oh, thank you. It's a relief. Yeah, it was obviously at the back end of prep, like posing every day. So, as much as you're exhausted, you've just got to find that like half an hour just to run through it.
Yeah.
And then I actually took like the week off before first ICN Sunshine Coast show, and then and managed to just take quite like 3 weeks of leave. So I was basically living the full-time bodybuilder life for 3 weeks, which
pretty
was
cool though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
I kept seeing on Instagram, like, you guys getting on a plane and like, just traveling around the place while you're competing. I was like, that's really, really cool.
Yeah, I was very lucky that I was able to sort of tee that up to work well. And during that, like all hands on deck again in that 3 weeks, just learning like from week to week. It was like, okay, well this week we've got ICN on like the Sunday, so it's just all it's pretty much predominantly ICN posing, and then the next week it was like, well, I've got the Queensland Ifbb show, so we just go hell for leather and practice the figure routine for that, and yeah,
nice. And this is, I guess, something that I think might have a bit of a carryover that possibly gets overlooked. But have you found that like getting good at posing and like learning how to manipulate your body in that sense has had carryovers to actually training itself? Like,
I guess 100%. As I said, like, 'cause I like coming from like law and finance. I'm about the human body. Like, I haven't learnt about, I haven't done a physio degree or something. So like the posing, yeah, you like, oh, like look at this muscle turn on, and then then when I'm actually at the gym, I'm like, oh, like I can really feel that, like that. I want that to appear bigger. So like, let's get that mind muscle connection on that part. Yeah, I love learning about it like so much,
I think it is actually one of those things that has a massive carryover. And it's actually a good reason, even if you're not planning on competing, just to practice the posing, because say with G, who came on the other week, he got through all the prep, he lost a lot of the weight, and he came in with a great condition. And he said himself that the main issue was the fact that he just didn't know how to pose properly. Like, he didn't have enough time to practice that and how to manipulate his body into the right positions. Whereas it's like, even if you're not ready to commit to the diet yet, chuck in some posing at the end of a session, just start learning how to manipulate and how to control your body, because not only does it have a carryover to when it comes to actually dieting down for that show, but it actually can have a massive carryover to developing those neural links with your body to actually be able to control them, contract them, and use them properly, which is going to in turn result in better growth, better development, and feeling a lot more, I guess, with your... Best part about it is it's always me. It's like, if it was the guest in 4K, I'd be like, okay, that's fine.
Everyone's watching the video and they're just like, why is he better quality?
Exactly. It's like, do I really need that? No. All right, and we're back. So apparently I need to, once again, triple check my cameras, because even though I did it right before we started, I left one of them in 4K and filled the memory card. That was a really good train of thought too. I think pretty much the summary of it was just, getting to know your body as much as possible, the way that it works, the way that it functions. It has carryovers in so many different areas, whether it's like the posing and getting up on stage, whether it's the training in the gym, whether it's just being okay with, say, like the thoughts that you have when you're in a diet and you get those cravings, just to be, I guess, more at home and more comfortable in your own skin and the way that you operate. It has so many benefits.
And also like getting on stage, like for me anyway, like first season, I was pretty terrified. So I think the more that you practice, you just, when you're on there, it's like you're not even thinking about it. You can just do it. Your body's so used to practicing posing by that point that, as little thinking as possible when you're nervous is good.
Exactly. So you want to use that space for something slightly useful. All right. So how hard was it to transition between training for strength and training for aesthetics?
Yeah, look, I mean, both, you train hard for both, right? So obviously it's a lot more volume with like hypertrophy training and bodybuilding. But I honestly enjoy both. That's why I'm doing both. I really like both. But yeah, sort of the big compounds, unfortunately, did have to, for instance, I started my prep squatting, but it was just the fatigue, that squat, obviously squats are very fatiguing. So they kind of came out and it was more like hack squat, and we just had to play smart when obviously your calories are getting lower and you're becoming a lot more tired.
Yeah, you get to a point where it's just like you want to be able to do it, but it's just it's too taxing on your body.
Yeah,
it's like you need to be able to recover to get to those like states, as well as just to be able to to train for hypertrophy. And if you're just slamming yourself constantly day in day out, you're gonna get to a point where it's like you're gonna break.
Yeah,
much.
no,
Like,
exactly.
you need to be real with the situation, and it's like, hey, this is what we're trying to go for at the moment. We need to step back on this a little bit so that we can get to those goals and take one thing at a time.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that there are some people who like will keep the heavy compounds in their whole prep, and that's like their philosophy, which is fine. But obviously this was my like first prep, and you know, that, yeah.
Exactly.
They had to go.
I think it comes with that sort of the trial and error and the practice of it, you know.
Yeah.
It's better off to play it safe, to be completely real, and like, you know, that if you're going to be throwing in really super heavy compounds,
Yeah.
there's a higher risk there for injury. There's a higher risk to not recover. There's a higher risk to just feel like crap. And
Yeah.
what's the point in taking those risks on your first attempt? So you might as well just focus in hard on one thing, get to know how to do it properly and be comfortable with it. And then when you go back through again, that's when you can start to adding these other variations and to spice things up a little bit and to try new things. But I think that's a really good approach to take.
Yeah, we were just finding like the stimulus to fatigue ratio it wasn't worth it. So yeah, just programming just sort of changed, and yeah. But I love both styles of training. Like obviously like squat, deads and bench, I absolutely love them. So now that I'm back in like an improvement season,
Nice.
you know.
So you said before that your max squat was 165. How about bench and dead?
So bench at the novice comp I did 85 at 66 kilogram body weight, and dead it was 160. Yeah.
So I think like that's the thing. It's like pound for pound. Like, yeah. 'Cause I remember like at my peak of like powerlifting, it was squatting, I think it was like 210, deadlifting 210 or 220, and benching 145. But I also had like 20 kilos on you. I was at like 85, 80. Yeah, I think I was at 85 at the time. So it's like, yeah, for the weight, you were ridiculously strong. And again, I'm going back to what I said before. Like, I'm questioning the person just like you and me. Like, that's insane numbers. Damn. Like, well done.
Thanks.
All right, last one that we've got here. So, been seeing your post about only training for 18 months. Surely that's not accurate.
So what was the first part of that? Sorry.
So it says, I've been seeing your post about only training for 18 months.
Yeah.
Surely that's not accurate.
No, that is accurate in the sense that I did not go to the gym consistently at all or follow any sort of structured program at all in the gym. Like I came from like team sports, so I have done sport, but in terms of training in the gym with a program or like really training in the gym much at all, because I played soccer up until like quite high level soccer. Like I went state teams and all that sort of stuff.
Same as Ash. What is it with you ICN pros and playing soccer? Jesus.
And yeah, so then I stopped that in like year 11 because, school, again, they really pushed the academics. And then I played AFL for a couple of years. So again, team sports, like obviously a very hard sport, like you're training pretty hard for it, but it's not in the gym really. And then when I tore my ACL, I just did some rehab with an exercise phys for a bit. And then COVID hit, and one of my friends who I met through AFL was doing like one-on-one PT, and she's like, oh, mates rates, sort of thing. And I would just train just like PT sort of with her because you could do one-on-one like outdoors. So it was like, circuit training with a bit of weights. And then the gyms opened up again, and I was like, and that's when I came across Tiara's podcast, the Bodybuilding Dietitians. Yeah. And then that's when I started learning about like structured training and like, progressive overload, because these are all concepts I was learning for the first time. And I was like, what, I really think I should be following a structured program. So that's when I contacted Tiara, and that was in the end of 2020. So
yeah, wow.
But
see, I don't think that's taking a dig in any sense. Like it's mind blowing. Like, to be honest, like the way that like say that question comes in, it's just like, how, like that's insane. Like you actually I don't think you quite understand just how insane the fact that you've only been training for 18 months and you came into the sport not knowing any of that.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like, say for me, it's like I started learning about this when I was like 13, 14, and it was just like, it was non-stop, like all day, constantly. Like, instead of paying attention in school, it was watching, videos on YouTube about nutrition and sports science and how the body works and how to manipulate different things. And then it was just training consistently.
Yeah.
So like, there's been years and years and years and years of just trying to like find out as much as possible, as well as talking to people who are super educated on it. And for you to come in and say that, you know, it has only been 18 months and I started at square one.
Yeah.
I don't think you understand just how insane that actually is. Like,
I think the high level sport that I did play, even though it was team based sports and it's not like training in the gyms, obviously did help. But yeah, I think there's like a bit of like genetically, I think I can put on muscle quite well for a female.
What?
So that's why I'm really excited because like I learnt so much and I'm just like, imagine if I just actually applied that like 100% for like 2 more years now, like where I'll be. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it is. And I'm very...
But I have been strong. Like I used to do a little bit of dancing when I was like, you know, 8 and 10 years old at school and stuff. And I was always the girl they got to like, you know, hold the girl up in the splits in the air. Like, you know, I was the only person that could hold someone up above my head. So like, even from 10 years old, like...
I couldn't be doing that. I'm like, pull-ups. Shit, this is going to be interesting.
So yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, look, Kate, I want to say a massive thank you for coming on the show. Hopefully you did enjoy yourself. It's been awesome to have a bit of a chat with you and get to know, you know, a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
No, absolute pleasure. Anytime. It's always great to, you know, hear the stories and journeys of people who are doing well in the sport. And again, to hear from yourself, someone who has just excelled so well and done so much is really quite amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
But if you'd like to say any sorts of goodbyes or anything, or shout outs to anyone, go for it. But
just thank you to, like, I've received so many amazing messages from people, and it's like really nice to know that, you know, like I can't believe like I'm like inspiring people and like women to like, you know, lift heavy and get strong and like not be afraid of putting on muscle. You know, when we were growing, like when I was like little growing up, it was a lot like girls just wanted to be skinny, but I think there's a definite change.
It's crazy, you know,
a definite change of just wanting to be strong now, which is so good to see.
Even when I got into it, you know, it's like the whole rage was cardio bunny, you know.
Yeah.
And now it like doesn't exist, and it's crazy to see just how much things have shifted. And again, like to see someone like yourself, where it's like, you know, on your Instagram, it's just like deadlifting, heavy ass weight, squatting, heavy ass weight. It's like. That's impressive. That's cool. That's awesome, and it really does inspire a lot of people. Now, the one thing I do actually want to do before we head off is I had a look at all the trophies and all this sort of jazz, but I have not grabbed that sword yet. Can I have a little?
Yes, you can take the wrap packaging off.
Can I?
Yeah, absolutely. I had meant to, but luckily we didn't because we had to get in the Uber with it. So.
All these sirens, I think they're coming for us. How do we go about opening this in the best way possible? I'm going to take this off so I don't break shit.
Gotta be.
What? You hear that? Kate reckons she has good genetics.
No, I don't, like...
Maybe I'll go Bailey over
No, because all I mean is just like...
With the beard going on. Oh.
There are people with way better genetics than me that exist in the world. Like, don't get me, you know, like I definitely don't have the best genetics. I'm just saying I'm not.
But how many of them went, you know, and took out classes at the Ifbb in their first, their first.
What I'm trying to say is like, it's just but everyone should just train hard because you can't do anything about genetics. Hey, like it's just one of those things that there's no point of even thinking about it because you cannot control it.
It's a fickle one. It is the fact that you are stuck with them. All right, I'm gonna put these back on so I can hear myself speak. Ugh. All right, now I am actually very excited for this because again, like seeing them all at show days. You
gotta get a behind the scenes shot of this.
We're getting behind the scenes of this.
Gotta get a behind the scenes video of this.
Surely.
This just gets better and better.
I want to thank everyone for the love and the support. It's honestly, I couldn't have done this without you. It's thanks for watching the show. Click subscribe, click follow, do all that good jazz if you liked it, and we out. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah, it really matches the sword.
that was too good.